Can you...
Most Haunted head into a fortress that's full of splendour and suicide.
The door's just closed.
And this is Most Haunted. Today we head to Northumberland and to an impressive but equally haunted location. Welcome to Bamburgh Castle. Northumberland can boast many fine castles, and Bamburgh is no exception. Against a backdrop lined by the stark and stormy waters of the North Sea, this enormous 9-acre site originally housed a far smaller timber construction. This, the Norman Keep, dates back to 1120, and with so many wars having raged ever since, it's not surprising that numerous monarchs hold an association with this castle. However, early in the 19th century, a charitable trust set about restoring Bamburgh to its former glory. And as a result, the castle has since acted as a school, a World War II HQ and hospital. And it's this role that may well lead us to Bamburgh's most prominent ghost.
As I drove down the road and saw Bamburgh Castle, I don't think I've ever seen such an imposing place in my life. I'm absolutely full of trepidation already, and that's before I've even started. There's been life on this site for over 7,000 years, and where there's life, there's death, and where there's death, there's stories of ghosts.
The ghost of John Sharp, who renovated the castle, has been seen wandering along the gallery area. The ghost of a woman has also been seen in this particular room, along with the fact that camera equipment likes to fail here on a regular basis. Lucky for us, though, so far, so good.
There's certainly been a castle on this site since the middle of the 6th century. It would have originally, of course, have been a wooden stockade and then a castle. It was the seat of the kings of Northumbria and was visited by many English kings. Edward I, Edward II, Edward III, Henry III, Henry VI, King John, all came here. And it's always been a very strategic castle in the battles between England and Scotland. There's an awful lot of death that's gone on around this building.
I've seen a couple of ghosts, and I get stories from other people, including mediums who visit, children, school teachers even. Or sometimes you see the Pink Lady, if you're lucky, because she's said to be stunningly beautiful. And I missed her by 5 minutes once, so I'm still a bit peeved. And I've seen Dr. Sharp, the first restorer of the castle, and a soldier in English uniform of the 17 or early 1800s. And for the girls, he was quite good looking. Sometimes you hear noises, maybe, a baby crying here and there, children running up and down corridors where there are no children in the house, and things like that. There was even a piano playing ghost, I'm told.
Many people don't like being in this particular area of the castle, which is situated just by the library area. People often complain of feeling physically sick. Some are terrified, hysterical, and many people have actually fainted. Dark, eerie shadows are also seen here, and people complain of being touched by unseen hands whilst looking at the pictures. During World War II, when the castle was used as a hospital, a young male patient shot and tragically killed himself. Since then, his ghost has been seen sitting here at the bottom of the stairs. Cold spots are often felt here, and many people report a small, cold, icy hand trying to hold theirs. All this happens in the tapestry passage.
Matthew Smith is our parapsychologist on this particular investigation, and after spending just an hour or so on site, He's already aware of what to expect from this huge and impressive location.
Matthew, this place is absolutely enormous. And what fascinates me is I don't think you can actually get away from the fact that so many people over the years have heard things, they've felt things, they've seen things. So what's your response to that? I mean, they can't all be imagining the same things.
Well, this is what makes the location like this absolutely fascinating. It has got so many different experiences of different types, so it's not easy to explain them away in terms of, oh, well, you know, maybe it's all explained in terms of drafts, or there's one simple explanation that can explain everything. So what we're going to look at what we're going to do is take a look at all these different kinds of experiences and find the different ways in which they may be explained. Because, of course, a big part of my job as the parapsychologist is to try to find ways in which there could be normal explanations and find out if we can rule those out. If something's left, if we've still got an effect, then maybe that's paranormal. But the fact we've got so many different kinds of experiences and so many different types of effects to look at gives us a lot to go on.
How would you cope with the fact that one particular area is a landing in a part of the castle, and lots of people have been known to become hysterical, they feel sick, some people have fainted. Why do you think that could be?
Those kinds of experiences are particularly interesting because we've got to look at the psychology of the people who are having those kinds of experiences. If, for example, they were members of a single group, then of course hysteria can help explain that, in that if one person has the experience, it can just start setting off a similar experience in other people. Nothing paranormal going on. If there's lots of independent people having these kinds of experiences, then there may, of course, be something about that environment. Could be paranormal, could be a perfectly natural explanation, and that's something we need to focus on.
And as we stepped inside, we wondered if Bamburgh Castle would welcome us with open arms or with more positive proof of paranormal phenomena.
I know it's an obvious thing, but it was just the ego in me. But I want to stand here and acknowledge this work. But that's not me personally. There's someone making me want to stand here and acknowledge this work. It's the building rather than what's in it that I want to acknowledge.
Who's this someone?
It's a male. He looks quite modern, because you think this would be, I mean, you know, castle, medieval, or whatever. He's much more modern than that, about 1800s. He's much more, though, I would say, an architectural builder rather than an owner. He doesn't feel like an owner, because there's a slight, I can usually tell if they're subservient or if they're pompous, right. You know, and he's not pompous. And the name I'm getting is John. John's the name I'm getting.
Do you have a surname with him?
I can't get one at the moment. It's Dr. John.
Oh, right.
Dr. John. He's got one of those very pale faces. He's got a very pale face. And he's got a little bit of face furniture, facial hair, but it's not like a full beard or anything.
Right, so sideburns.
Yeah, right. Quite long. And again, that's given me kind of time-wise.
So you had to estimate an era or an approximate time period. Okay.
Yeah. Can you tell what he died from? Does that come over to you?
Well, initially, I got sort of old age and too much good living, and that's what they said to me.
So an early and by all accounts harmless encounter with just one of the people who held this coastal castle in high esteem. But would all of our links to Bamburgh's past prove as austere? One particular woeful soul would soon inflict a hint of their torment onto Most Haunted's investigation team.